communication is essential. Municipalities need to communicate with their state and federal government because, as you said, when that funding comes down, we have to understand that even though something may not be a problem today, there's sustainability work that has to be done today for the things that's coming tomorrow. A lot of times we like to focus in on environmental justice communities about how, the climate crisis is impacting those neighborhoods, but many states have old pipes. Many states haven't done well with mitigation. So, and many towns. So their time is coming, and their time is coming if they don't start being proactive with getting a plan together, as Robert just mentioned. The second piece of the communication is, as you were alluding to, Commissioner, communication with the stakeholders. We often forget that the communities know what's great for the community. That's what's good, what's great, because they've lived in these environments their entire lives. They know what works. And unfortunately, far too often we have people in short-term positions doing the long-term planning. Think about that. So if you're in a short-time position and you're doing long-term planning, if you're not putting a long-term plan in place, only thing you're doing is you're creating something that has to be recreated every time there's a new cycle, every time there's new representatives in that place. And where does that leave the community? That leaves the community starting from scratch every 2 to 4 years, every 6 years. That's a terrible model. So what we need to do, and what our municipalities need to do, we need to make long-term plans, and there needs to be commitments from our elected officials and our governing bodies and within our municipalities saying, I'm committed to changing the climate. The buzzword for the last 2 or 3 years has been environmental justice. Everyone has been saying it, but we always forget the communities that are most impacted are these environmental justice communities. So if we're speaking about the cost, if these people in these communities are getting burdened with asthma and cancer and all types of respiratory issues that's impacting their mobility, impacting their longevity, then the question has to really be looked at. Like, let us not continue to say environmental justice if we don't really want to do justice work. Justice work means let's start realizing that sometimes money is important, but people have been for centuries overburdened, exploited, disrespected. So I just always want to make sure we quantify and qualify that, because it's
absolutely. The point, the finer point for us from a regulatory perspective, from an accountability perspective, is that when you don't integrate the cost of resilience, or you don't integrate the cost of pollution control into your project, it's not as though that cost doesn't exist. You're externalizing that cost. Someone else is paying it, right? There is a direct impact, and the first payor is the fence line community, and the next payor is all of us when we overtax our healthcare system. So I am with you, my friend.